Hello, this is ldelsack and welcome back. We're going to be looking at, in this talk, how the Draconic chart is calculated. For those of you who have software programs such as SolarFire or WinStar Plus, those programs will automatically make the calculation for you. As well, on the internet you could access your Draconic chart through www.astro.com. On their homepage, under, I believe it's Extended Chart Selections, they now have the Draconic chart as an option, and as well, when we get into looking at the synastry between the Draconic and the natal, they also have that option so that you can put the Draconic on the outer wheel and the natal in the inner. But in its simplest terms, the Draconic chart is calculated by transferring the north node of the moon to 0 degrees Aries, or also known as the Aries point. In other words, it takes the natal position of the north node and looks at how many degrees is needed to move the north node back to 0 degrees of Aries. That difference in degrees between the natal north node and 0 degrees Aries is then subtracted from the sun, moon, planets, and angles of the natal horoscope to bring each of those to their Draconic position. In the diagram that I have in front of you, this is an example using my natal chart and calculating the Draconic position. What I've done for simplicity is to show you a double ring. We have both my natal on the inner and my natal on the outer. Imagine the outer wheel was able to move clockwise, and you would turn the outer wheel, bringing the north node, which in my horoscope is located at 6 Virgo. I'm using the true node, which I'll explain in a moment, and turning the wheel clockwise to bring the north node up to 0 degrees Aries. What you would see then in the next picture is that the Draconic chart has now moved the planets, and nothing changes in terms of the aspects between the planets. For example, if you notice, natal Neptune is still in square position to the natal Sun. Saturn and Jupiter are still conjunct. They have just been turned clockwise to a new degree and sign of the zodiac. Now, if we were to make this calculation manually, we would take the position of my natal north node located at 6 degrees Virgo, which is the equivalent of 156 degrees. In other words, the 150 degrees is 5 signs of 30 degrees: Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo. 5 signs of 30 degrees equals 150 degrees, plus the 6 degrees in Virgo equals 156. So we would take the 156 degrees and subtract 156 degrees from each natal position to derive the Draconic position. I hope I didn't confuse you, and I hope that makes sense. So you're just looking at what is the difference in degrees from your natal north node back to 0 degrees Aries. That difference is then subtracted from every natal position, sun, moon, the planets, the angles, to derive the Draconic position. And to see that more clearly, I have brought up on one sheet of paper the natal in the upper and the Draconic chart in the lower wheel. And this shows you that nothing has changed in terms of the planetary patterns in their relationship to each other. All that has changed is the degrees and the signs of the zodiac in which the sun, moon, the planets, and the angles of the horoscope fall. Finally, I would like to just note whether to use the mean node or the true node. In Pamela Crane's book, The Draconic Chart, on Draconic Astrology, she has found that the true node seems to work better. I think that there is research that still can be done on this. There is such a slight difference between the mean node and the true node that it might make little difference, but you'll see when you create a draconic chart for someone, if the moon, for example, were at the final degrees or the beginning degrees of a sign, it could make a difference. So what I would say is that the difference is small. I have become accustomed to using the true node when I work with the draconic chart, and you can experiment with that and see what feels better to you. Normally, I use the mean node for all other purposes in terms of natal chart analysis and so forth. But when I create a draconic chart, I tend to calculate the natal chart using the true node and then create the draconic chart from it. So I just wanted to bring up the point that in these discussions, I am using horoscopes calculated based on the true node. So if you're still with me and you'd like to learn more, let's move on. Thank you.